Hello Internet, my name is Brink and welcome back to the channel. With midnight around the corner, it is time to kick off a brand new series. One that's meant to feel a bit like catching up with an old friend who just really loves World of Warcraft. In these videos, I'm going to give you my first impressions of every tank class and its playstyle, and hopefully spark your curiosity and mine for playing them in the next expansion. My goal with this channel has always been to help out players who are thinking about stepping into the world of tanking. Whether you're a veteran or someone fresh who's considering a tank class in Midnight, you have come to the right spot. With all the big changes coming in Midnight, now feels like the perfect time to take a closer look at these reworked tanks. What makes them exciting and what might be a bit underwhelming in the next expansion. So here's the plan. This series will explore each tank class through a fresh first impression lens. It's not a deep dive or a patch note discussion, just my humble opinion on how each spec feels to play. But I'll spotlight the ones that I think are cool enough to talk about. Changes that shape your playstyle, or synergies that make you smile. In this episode, we're turning our attention to the Protection Warrior. Let's dive straight in. So Protection Warrior had me a bit worried, as I had a hard time finding builds that really made me smile. I mean, at the end of the day, your playstyle has to be fun. You pressing your abilities have to be meaningful. And in some sense, even after last rework, it seems that there are too many things going on. For example, we've gotten the improved shouts in Battlefield Commander. This makes all your shouts better, but can be debated if it's kinda underwhelming or not. Then you have your improved spear that grips your packs and allows you to leap in. And by itself it's not bad, it's a cool ability. It looks cool, it plays cool, but you already have plenty of mobility with charge, shield charge and heroic leap. So I kinda don't feel like picking that node, as we don't need the movability. Then the talent tree is heavy invested into bleeds and deep wounds as your playstyle. Decimator, cut to the bone, one against many, fueled by violence, bloodborne and deep wounds, that I didn't pick as it already gets supplied by Decimator. So what is it that the warrior is trying to accomplish here? What is the main thing to look at? And so I came up with this build. And before you copy paste, I can't say this will be meta. Those numbers are just not in. We will have to wait until release to see what is good. But this looks like fun to me. And I kinda think this build will work with both hero talent trees. You really can pick the one that you like the most. Of course, like I said, the numbers and future data will tell us what is better or not. But the synergies are there in both. And so, with Colossus, there is a nice feedback loop going on. Some crazy synergies that make your playstyle somewhat interesting. A playstyle where you want to use your revenge and thunderclap as much as possible, so you gain shield slam procs. Because your bread and butter here is demolish. That does a good amount of damage on a 45-second cooldown. And this cooldown gets lowered by your shield slam hits. So there's your incentive to slam your shield and slam it as much as you can. So that brings us straight into Colossus. And this is where things get exciting. Colossus Might creates a powerful back and forth synergy. Shield Slam grants a stack of Colossus Might whenever it hits 3 or more targets, and each stack boosts the damage of Demolish. Because of that, you want to use Demolish as often as possible, and honestly, Demolish does a lot for you. It's kinda wild how many things it affects. You could practically make a whole list of things it does. First, Demolish does a massive amount of AoE damage. Second, while channeling, you take 10% less damage. Well, this is really short, but still. Because of the longer ability channel time, you can do stuff off the global cooldown, like use certain defensive abilities, for instance shield block and shield wall. So what else does Demolish do? Well, with the talent Decimator, it also applies deep wounds to all your targets. Then, when it finishes its final strike, you gain 10% haste for 10 seconds and increase your crit chance on your next shield slam. So for the last hero talent, your shield slam applies Colossus Might. Colossus Might now stacks up to 10 times. When you gain a stack of Colossus Might and you are at the max stacks, the cooldown of Demolish is reduced by 2 seconds. And this happens way more often than you expect. Basically, this is what you want to be going for during your rotation. And then the second part. Enemies affected by Demolish take up to 20% more damage from you and deal up to 10% less damage to you for 10 seconds. This is all based on the numbers of stack of Colossus Might consumed by Demolish. So as you can tell, there's a great deal occurring behind the scenes that isn't immediately apparent. With all that in mind, it just makes sense to make a build that makes the abilities you rely on for the rotation stronger. Feeding all these talents into Shield Slam naturally supports that approach and really ties the whole kit together. From there, leaning into deep wound bleeds adds even more value, giving your damage a strong passive backbone. And taking Revenger fits perfectly as well, since it boosts both Revenge and Thunderclap while it's active, further reinforcing the core of the build. And this build gets complemented by the Apex talents. Phalanx makes it so that your Thunderclap makes your next shield slam do a wave of damage in front of you and makes the enemy's hit do less damage to you by 5%. The second part increases damage on Thunderclap and the wave by 20%. And then the last one, When shield block is active, shield slam deals another 10% damage and has a 20% increased chance to critical strike. So there's no way in hell that your shield slam won't be critting with all these buffs, making your shield slams feel pretty amazing. As you can see, this works and complements each other really well, but it can also work with Mountain Thane. Let's take a look there. So by swapping over, you lose the demolish side of the gameplay, but you gain a buffed Thunderclap playstyle, where a few of your abilities also generate lightning strikes. Just a quick recap to Thunderblast. Shield Slam and Bloodthirst have a 35% chance to grant you Thunderblast, stacking up to 2 charges. This playstyle now gets complemented by Avatar, that has been moved to the protection side of the talent tree, which increases the damage and reduces the cooldown of Thunderclap while Avatar is active. Conductivity boosts lightning strike damage and critical strike damage, each by 10%. Then there's this talent, one I'm not even going to try to pronounce. While Avatar is active, Thunderblast extends its duration by 2 seconds. And that's really all it does. Yes, these hero talents are a bit flashier, but as you can tell from how little explanation they need, there's not a lot of depth to the core playstyle. I wouldn't call Colossus complicated by any means, but compared to that, this setup is definitely the easy mode version. The Apex talents again complements your shield slam by using Thunderclap first, so it makes a wave of damage in front of you and enemies do less damage to you. So at the start I mentioned that Protection Warrior had me a bit worried, but once I really dug into the builds and understood the feedback loops, it definitely became more interesting. The abilities do feel meaningful, and it's clear it wasn't a lazy effort on Blizzard's part. There's a solid foundation here. That said, I still feel like a few opportunities were missed. If you ask me, I feel it could have been just a bit better if they held back on some of the broader concepts and instead invested more deeply into the core synergies. But hey, that's just me ranting a bit. Let me know what you think about these changes in the comments below. Am I being a big baby with a new toy in the candy store? Or is there some merit? And are the Apex talents a tad lackluster? I'd love to hear from you. And there you have it. That wraps up my first impression of the Protection Warrior. Midnight is still a few months away, so there's always a chance Blizzard tweaks a few things before launch. I'm not expecting massive changes, but it's worth keeping the door open, just in case. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. It genuinely helps the channel to grow, and I've got more first impressions and future tank guides coming your way as we get closer to the new expansion. And with that, I'm off. I really have to go now, because even in real life, I somehow end up tanking things I don't mean to pull. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Brinks out.